Hi,
Hi,
Varsh.
Varsha.
Hi, hello Vinod sir. Hi, Shilpi.
How are
Hi.
you?
All good, all good. I hope you guys are keeping safe.
Yeah, till now.
Yes, done and dusted.
We're done and dusted, is it? Or don't say that, people are getting it, a number
Oh,
of
yes, yes. For now, I can say. Sir, I think it's a good time to start.
Just wait for 2 minutes because the participants are increasing.
Yeah, we are already 120 plus. So I think in a couple of minutes, we can start. Barsha, would that be okay?
Yeah, that's fine, Shilpi. Just wanted to say just one thing. We've already done this session once, so I'll quickly go through the session, but I'll, invite more questions today if any particular
Absolutely.
questions.
Yes, because we already had a session on PER.
Yeah.
We have had obviously new students have joined in thereafter and more have become affiliates and, more wanting to become members. So definitely keep it elaborative. At the same time, we'll try and, take more and more queries.
Certainly.
Absolutely.
You can start now.
Absolutely, sir. Would you like to begin, sir?
Yeah. Is it live?
Yes, sir. Live on YouTube.
Good evening to all of you and a very warm welcome to this session. So at the outset, my heartiest congratulations to all of you who have qualified this exam. In the last exam, the result was announced just a week back. And this time the performance of the students have been much better than what we were getting last 2 years. And I believe many of the students are also Indian rankers and the world ranks will be getting next week. So friends, I remember this ACC qualification was unheard of in India 5 years back. But today, if you speak to any commerce graduate or even a 12th class commerce student, he knows what is CA, he knows what is ACCA. So that is the marked change in the qualification awareness among the students in India. So as you would have seen in the last 1 year, there has been a phenomenal demand from the industry, from the big four, from the multinationals for ACCA. So I think VGLD would have put up some post for the vacancies which big four have, the other multinationals have. So the credit goes to you people, and of course, team ACCA and team VGLD led by Shilpi Jain. So today's session we have on the practical experience requirement for becoming a member. And we have one of the finest speakers, Barsha Sharma. Barsha is the member engagement manager at ACCA India. And I think she has taken the session earlier also. So quite a few of you may have attended this session. So she will not bore you by repeating the things again and again. She'll be quickly rewinding what happened in the past in our session and emphasize more on questions and answers. So she'll be assisted and moderated by Himani Sharma. She's a business relations executive, and none other than Shilpi Jain. I think she's also a household name for everyone who's doing ACC at VGL. And let me tell you, she has developed ACC at VGLD like her son or daughter, whatever you say. So heartiest congratulations to you, Shilpi, for making this a big success. So without taking much of your time, I'll request Himani and Shilpi to quickly start the session and ask Barsha to take up the session. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Vijay sir, for your kind words and briefing the students with the importance of the PER requirement, which is there as part of the 3 E's of the ACCA journey that students have to fulfill. So definitely, it's an extremely insightful session. We are looking forward to, and we are extremely thankful to Barsha for sparing out her time for students to yet again, explain them about the PER and requirements and how to file, when to file, and basically all the do's and don'ts about it. So let's quickly hand over the session to Barsha and let's start. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vinod sir. Thank you, Shilpi, for such a power-packed start. First of all, I'd also like to congratulate all the new affiliates of ACCA, all the ones who've given the exams and also come out with the flying colors. Thanks to Shilpi for all the support that she's been providing and leading from the front. Thanks to Himani and the ACCA team as well. Now, today I'm going to talk about the ACCA membership, and this is really for those who are getting on with the ACCA journey. I'd like to say that this is really the final destination. And before we start, I'll just quickly talk about why membership is important. Some of you may already have kickstarted your career. Some of you may have done your CA articleship, and ins and outs of finance and accounting. So this is really where we learn how you will apply those experience that you have gained to record it on the PER system and then become ACCA members. So often I get questions from affiliates across India. Why is membership important? I've already started my career. I'm getting a good salary. Why should I go for membership? Why is it really important? So the first reason why you should get onto membership is because of the ACCA letters. Now, you may have seen professionals use ACCA after their names and on their business cards, on their LinkedIn social media profiles. Those ACCA letters can only be used by you after you become an ACCA member. So, you cannot use it as affiliates. Those ACCA letters are hard earned, and they not only signify that you have the knowledge, which you have, of course, gained from the ACCA qualification, but also really validate your experience of how you have put that knowledge into work at, some of the premium workplaces that you may have engaged in. And that thus really, kind of makes you a complete professional with knowledge and the right experience. And the third E that exists, which is the ethics module that we have, it also signifies that you are an ethical professional, a person who really puts ethics at the center stage and as ACCA guides you to do it. So that is why membership is important. We have a global community of members, as you already know, more than 230,000 members across the world. So no matter where you go, you will have that ACCA family to connect with, to welcome you. And that global mobility also really comes once you become an ACCA member. You'll be able to take the full advantage of the qualification once you become a member. Now, of course, we have over 7,000 approved employers globally. And these employers look at those letters, with recognition, with repute. And that is why you need to make sure that you get onto membership. Lastly, I'd like to talk about professional development. Even after you become a member, even after you finish your qualification, since the finance landscape of the finance and accounting profession itself is seeing so much of change because of technology, because of new kinds of regulations across the world, even in India. So it really is important. It is imperative that you, every year, you learn something new. You make sure that you're updated with the current skills and technologies out there. So that is also something that is provided by ACCA to you in forms of CPD. And those CPD, you have to update every year. 40 hours of learning needs to be updated every year for you to maintain your membership. So as soon as you say that you're an ACCA member, an employer looks at you as a person who has ethical qualification, the hard skills that comes from the ACCA qualification itself, as well as they will trust you to have been developing yourself every year through these cutting edge, research that ACCA does, through the great programs of learning that we keep giving to our members, providing to our members to upskill. So that is another very, very important reason why you should get onto ACCA membership. Now, in India, we have a very close-knit member group. We do a lot of work together. ACCA members are not only, going out there and doing their work at the workplaces and maybe fetching a good salary, but they're also those who are, really giving back to the community, those who are there for the public service, for the public good. And for that, members have come together for various programs within India. and built a very close-knit community, shared a lot of learnings. And especially for younger professionals like you, younger students like you, there's an opportunity to connect with senior members working in such projects. One thing that we did was the financial literacy program, which is going to be hitting schools. Some of the top schools have asked to be enrolled in this program. Members have come together to create a 2-year program for school children to make them financially literate, to make them better consumers, to make them better decision makers. And this is really one of the projects that members have undertaken for the public good. Members also do a lot of research work themselves. Senior members, partners at Big Four lead these programs, and it is an opportunity for younger folks like you to learn from them, work with them, and it's a great story as well. 2 of the young people who are working in such a program with our senior members, one of the partners as a Big Four, he hired them because he saw such a lot of potential in them while working in such projects. So, there's a lot of these interactions, which also opens doors for new opportunities for younger members. Similarly, we have a lot of hangout, a lot of networking sessions for members, where you can really share your learnings from various industries, ask questions to senior members about the kind of career opportunities that are out there. So please, I'm really waiting to welcome all of you as members so that I can work with you as well. Before I start, certain things that you absolutely need to know as young professionals is, who are those ACCA members who are advocates within your region? Who are those that have already volunteered themselves to help younger professionals, younger students, not only in passing your exams, but basically on career counseling and PER also. So there are folks who have given their time and given their experience to nurture future generations' talents like you. And please go on to LinkedIn, look at who are those advocates who can help you. If you want to be connected to advocates, let Shilpi know and we can do that for you in the background. If you need help with PER, if you need help with career counseling, any questions that you have, we have a robust member group, which is already going to help you. And we expect that once you become members, you also pay it forward and you come forward to help students at VG and other ACCA students, affiliates as well. So there's one thing that you really need to sharpen your skills on in the current age is your digital networking skills. Please know how to approach a senior person. Please know how to approach someone for jobs or opportunities that you may see that they have advertised. Or if you're applying to a certain organization and you know that ACCA members are already working there, how do you really seek help from ACCA members? The help is there. You need to also develop positive attitude to kind of grab those opportunities. So Shilpi and I are there to help you. And also just a reminder, all of these series of programs that we've been doing at with ACCA and VG comes with the Skill Academy, which is something that we have initiated since last year. And Shilpi and I have come to get before you with so many programs, whether on employability skills, PER, or exam prep skills, exam prep sessions. So one of the things that I really want to have with you is also on digital networking, the art of digital networking. So maybe we'll do a session on that with some senior employer from the industry. So watch out for that as well. And if you already do not have the Professional Insights app with you, please download the ACCA Insights app. When you go for a job interview, it is vital for you to know what are the current industry trends out there, what are the research that has come out, especially on machine learning or robotics process automation. How is the automation working for finance professionals? So please download this app, listen to the podcast. Even if you don't have time to go through the whole report, at least listen to the podcast, watch some videos. It will really give you the ammunition that you need, equip you with all the right knowledge when you go for an interview. And that is really going to help you stand out when you appear for your interview at the organization that you desire. So with all of that background, I'll quickly start about the PER. So what is PER? I will talk today getting you familiar with the PER system. We'll talk about how you can assign your supervisors. We'll also give you a glimpse of how do you record your employment and time details on PER. And lastly, we'll talk about your performance objectives. How do you write those performance objectives? And what are the things that you should keep in mind so that during review, your application for membership goes through very quickly and smoothly. So let's get started. There are 36 months of your relevant experience in a relevant role that you need to record on PER. Okay, 36 months meaning 3 years. This is when you're recording your time, your employment details. All right. After that, you will need to complete your 9 performance objectives. So while time tells us how much time did you spend working in a particular organization, the performance objective validates that you have learned something new at the workplace. You have implemented what you've learned from your ACCA qualification. Then both of those time and your objectives needs to be approved by a supervisor who you will appoint. And after that, you submit that for review. So these are basically the 4 steps that you need to take for you to be at a position to be able to apply for ACCA membership. Quickly, let's look at what does the dashboard look like and how do you access the PER system. So on your My ACCA, you will see that there is something called My Experience dashboard. When you click on My Experience, this is the screen that you see. There are clearly two different parts to this, the employment part and the performance objectives part. And this is how it looks on the screen. Let's look at the employment part. When you click on employment, this is what the screen looks like. On the left-hand side, you can see options to add a new employer, and that is the first step that you will take. Add new employer, and when do you do this? As soon as you join any organization, okay, you can start with your PER. Even if you have not completed your ACCA qualification, but you've started working at a certain organization, please start, add the new employer and start putting in the role, job titles, all the details that are asked in the screen. Now, what kind of roles will be accepted by ACCA? We really respect any kind of work that you would have done, whether it is your internship, whether it is a part-time job, whether it is a CA articleship that you may have done. All of those are accepted by ACCA. So you do not hesitate, just put in any kind of experience that you start getting. Add the job title, add the start date, add all the details like average hours per week, how much relevant is the role. Not for many, but for some of you, as you start your career, you may not have done everything related to accounting in that firm. Maybe you did a little bit of admin work. Maybe you were asked to do a little bit of HR work. So just evaluate how much of your role directly relates to finance and accounting. Based on that, please fill in there if it's 70%, 100%, 90%. It is totally up to your evaluation. And after that, please check with us if you do not already know whether wherever you're working is an approved employer or not. If it is yes, please indicate over there by the drop-down button. And then we also like to know if this is an audit role or not, so that also let us know. Now, the most important thing about today's presentation, even if you forget everything else, just keep one thing in mind, that is, take this thing away from this presentation today. That is about the end date. Now, if you need to record 3 years of your experience on PER. Now, not all 3 years of experience may be gained at the same firm. Maybe you will get a better opportunity in some other firm midway down those 3 years. So let's say that you worked in an ABC organization for the first 1 year, and then you got a better opportunity at XYZ organization and you decide to make the move. Please make sure that before you move from one organization to another within those 3 years, add the end date over here and get it approved by your supervisor. Okay, because if you do not get it approved by your supervisor and do not put in the end date and close that chapter with that organization, you will have to, all that experience that you would have gained in that particular organization for you will be lost. I get a lot of requests from affiliates, does an exit letter work as to validate my experience? Does an experience letter work on the letterhead of the organization? Nothing works. The only thing that works is whatever is recorded in the PER system and whatever has been approved by your supervisor from within that firm. All right. So this is the most important thing. I do not want you to lose any experience that you may have gained while you're working. So please put an end date, get it approved by your supervisor before you move from one firm to another, so that experience that you have gained does get recorded in the system. Now, for all of those who have done CA articleship, the process is the same. So what you need to do is put in all the details, but you will need your manager from your, wherever you did your CA articleship. Please get them to sign it off within the PER system, your experience, the time that you worked with them. Please add the end date and start date and get them to approve it for you within that PER system. We need someone who is working in the firm to do that for you, and preferably your line manager. Whoever you are reporting to in that firm should be the person to approve your time. All right, so I know I can already see some questions regarding this. I'll come to that as soon as I finish towards the end. So, but this is all about recording your time. It is a very intuitive system, and I know you all of you are very tech savvy, so I'm sure it is, it's going to be very simple for you. But even if not, you have any questions midway, please ask Shilpi, and she'll connect you with me or my colleagues, and we'll be able to help you out case by case basis. So I talked about supervisor. Now, who is your supervisor, and how many supervisors do you need? And basically, what are they going to do for you? Now, when you join an organization, the best person to become your supervisor is your line manager, is the person who does, who has an overview of what you do day to day at your workplace. And that person, is really the right person because they know what kind of work that you're doing at the workplace. How are you spending the time? But one advice that I'll give to all of you is that do not look at that supervisor, the line manager, it's just a checkbox that you need to do for the PER. So will you be my supervisor? Rather, have a heart-to-heart conversation with them. Showcase to them all of the professional objectives that are there from ACCA. It really, helps you to show the kind of depth that you come with, the depth of knowledge that you bring. And, there are some roles that may be open. There are some projects that may be there within the organization. They will be able to get you to work on those projects for you to complete your PER successfully and complete your objectives successfully. So this is also a great way for you to build a rapport with your supervisor, your manager. So have a good conversation with your manager right at the beginning when you start working at the firm, so that they know what are your expectations, what are your interests, and where do you want to develop, where do you want to take your career. All right, so there are a myriad of opportunities, options on the objectives, and I hope that you first have a look at it, and when you talk to your line manager, you should be able to openly describe to them all the objectives and take their feedback before you start at the workplace. They are really the right people who can make those first 3 years of your career count for you. All right. So that's what the supervisor does. They really guide you. They help you plan your experience. And in the end, they are the people who will be evaluating your performance objectives and your time and signing both of those for you after review. All right. So next is, who can be your supervisor? I said your line manager is the most preferable one from ACCA's point of view. They are the right people. And however, let's say your line manager is not professionally qualified. Okay, then what do you do? So if your line manager is not professionally qualified, they are still the right persons to sign off your time. That is your employment details. Okay, they are the ones who know how much time you spend at work, how relevant is your work to the role of finance and accountancy. So they're really the right people to guide you there and sign it off for you. So even if your supervisor is not professionally qualified, they're the right people to sign off your time. However, you will need to look for someone else to sign off your objectives if your line manager is not professionally qualified. And here too, we would suggest that you look for someone within the organization, most preferably senior manager, someone that your manager reports to, partner at the firm, whoever is within that firm who can do it for you and who is professionally qualified. And that doesn't mean that it has to be an ACCA. It has to be any person who is from the IFSC member body. So if it is an Indian CA from ICAI or CFA or CPA, there are lots of qualifications who are part of the IFSC qualification body. So please check their website out if you're not sure. If not sure, even then you can reach out to Shilpi and we can certainly help you understand whether or not that person is qualified to sign it off for you. Now, let's say there's nobody within your firm who is professionally qualified. This rarely happens, but if it does happen that you are the only one who's professionally qualified, and it is a small firm and you don't have anyone to sign it off for you, the next person who can be your external supervisors are people who are professionally qualified, and they are somehow related to your organization. Maybe they can be the CA for your organization, or they can be consultants to your organization. So there has to be some link so that the line manager and the external supervisor can come together and really understand about your role and about whether or not you have done everything to meet the professional objective requirements. Now, how many supervisors do you need then? So in the end, you will need preferably just one. If your line manager is professionally qualified, you just need one supervisor. If not, then you will have a line manager as your person who approves your time, and a second supervisor who is professionally qualified, who will approve your professional objectives. All right, so that's all about supervisors. Now let's quickly take a look at how can you appoint a supervisor. So you have to appoint a supervisor, and on the employment page itself, at the bottom right-hand side, you will see an option for practical experience supervisors. Now click on add new supervisor, add the email address of your supervisor, and there will be an automated request that will go to the supervisors. As a supervisor, they will need to do a one-time registration. Okay, that one-time registration will hardly take 2 minutes. It's really simple process. They will need to put their membership ID, and once that gets reviewed by AACCA, which takes minutes, there will be a supervisor within the system for you who can then approve your submissions. All right. So that is it. That is all about supervisors. And if you have any questions about them, please jot them down. I'll come to you. Now, once you have a supervisor within the system, now you can see that your supervisor is registered. You have your time that you have already accumulated, and you want to now get some time approved. How do you do that? There's a claim time button right at the top of the screen on the menu, or also on the right side on the employment section itself. You can just click on claim time now. Once you do that, you will come to a screen where on the right hand side you can see the name of the practical experience supervisor on the drop down button. Click on the right supervisor that you want to send your submission to, add a few lines of request, and just submit. And that'll go to your supervisor. All they now need to do is examine your submission and then approve or disapprove based on their judgment. All right. So this is all about recording your time, appointing a supervisor, and submitting time details or employment details to your supervisor for approval. Next, we will look at very quickly, we'll look at performance objectives. So as I said before, you have 9 performance objectives that you need to complete to become an AACCA member. Now, among those 9, 5 are essential objectives. When we say essential objectives, 5 are compulsory for you to complete. And they are, as on the screen, professionalism and ethics, stakeholder relationship management, strategy and innovation, governance, risk and control, leadership and management. Now, all of these 5, no matter where you work, whether you work in a CA house, whether you work in a Big 4, or whether you work at any other industry as a finance and accounting role, these 5 we expect that you would have had achieved in your 3 years of experience, or maybe before that. And these are really those skills that are inherent to any professional accountant or finance professional, and we expect for you to have achieved these objectives. So all of these 5 are essential. You'll have to complete these 5. Apart from these 5, there are, as I said, a myriad of opportunities, options for you to choose from. Now you're only left with 4. So from the ones that you see on the screen, you need to only select 4, okay, any 4. If you're more into corporate reporting, you can take 3 from corporate reporting. If you're into audit and assurance, so you will know which ones are those that you may have achieved. And this is why you need to have a very good conversation with your supervisor right at the beginning, and really discuss about, that maybe you're interested in data analysis, maybe you're more interested in sustainable management accounting. So this gives you an opportunity to work in projects, to work in roles where you may be able to achieve these objectives, and your supervisor is really the right person to guide you, to help you get those roles, to guide you through your work as you look to complete your performance objectives. So for your performance objectives, for you to have a continuous conversations with your supervisor is a must. Make it a part of your review conversations. I mean, in almost all organizations, we have at least a review within the 6-month period. So every 6 months you have the review. Have a discussion with your supervisor about your objectives as well. Do you think they are, you can ask them whether or not you are in the right roles, whether or not you are working towards getting your objectives completed. So that really, brings a little bit of depth into your review conversations as well, as to how serious you are about your careers and how eager you are to learn and to implement what you have learned. So the PER can be that tool that can really help you, take your career forward, and look at PER in that from that perspective, and it will really, really be something more than just a requirement for membership for AACCA. It will really help you design your career in those early years of your career development. So after you select 4 from these, now how do you write an objective? What does an objective mean? What all do you have to do? So an objective will have 3 parts to it. One is the description, which will be there on the screen. It will summarize to you what the performance objective itself is all about. It will be on the PER. Second is each objective will have 5 elements. Now, elements are nothing but a breakdown of various tasks and behaviors that you will have to achieve to, or demonstrate to complete that objective. For example, if you're writing the ethics and professional skills objective. So the 5 elements there will really give you a sneak peek into some of the tasks and behaviors that you would have demonstrated within your organization to achieve that objective. Thirdly, there's a part of a statement. Now, this is something that you have to write. After you feel that, okay,
Okay, I think Barsha probably is facing some technical issues. Barsha, are you there? Just allow me a moment. Let me just connect with Barsha very quickly.
Hi, Shilpi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can now.
Sorry about that. I mean, so sorry.
Absolutely no worries. Please go ahead.
All right. Okay. Anyways, I'm just about to be done. So you can see my screen as well, right?
Yes, the screen is visible.
All right. So this is what the objective screen looks like, everyone. On the right-hand side, you will see the details about each of those objectives. You can see the elements that I was talking about. And all of those elements has a button called claim next to it. All you need to do is click on the claim button. Once you feel that you are ready to, you've achieved those tasks or behaviors, just click on claim. There you do not need to write anything or do anything. Underneath, you can see something called statement. There, that is where you need to write about your summary for each of those objectives. Now, let's just quickly talk about what is the best way to write your summary. So if we're talking about professionalism and ethics again as an example, let's say that you want to start writing about what was the project all about, what is this organization all about. My organization is very ethical, my manager, my team is very ethical, we are very professional. Those are things that we do not want to hear. What we want to hear is, what did you really learn? Give examples. For example, I was looking at a client's data and I felt that something was not right. We needed more information to be able to process that request from them. And we asked for some additional details from the client. I talked to my manager. These are the things that we really want to know about. Some real life examples from you. Some, I became more assertive in looking for the right details to take the right decision. So, so these are the things that we're really looking at, really a reflection of what you learned and how you implemented what you had learned. So don't be repetitive in talking about the same things. Give very succinct examples of what you did and not about the general grandeur of the organization or the project or the team, etc. So if you make it more personal and you are able to pinpoint to the personal things that you learned, those are the applications that will go very quickly through the review, because it'll be very easy for your supervisor to gauge what were the learnings that you got from this and how you have become a better professional, or how you are now ready to go into membership. You have matured yourself to be able to get into membership. So this is what we're looking at from you. It's a very, very short statement. And again, I like to reiterate that all the members from ACCA have gone through this journey. So if you feel like you need additional help, you need to talk to someone who can really guide you through this process, that help is available. Just reach out to Shilpi and we can help you connect with a member who can help you with this. All right, so this is all about PER. And the submission process for the performance objective is just the same. On the right-hand side top screen, you'll see a basket, wherein as and when you finish your objectives, you will see those numbers 1, 2, 3 professional objectives completed. You do not need to wait for you to complete all of the professional objectives to, finally send it for submission. You can also send it piecemeal to your supervisor. In fact, that is a better way, because the supervisor will have good time to really evaluate your summaries and decide whether or not to approve it or not, and have that conversation with you. So the submission is same way. Select the practical supervisor from the drop-down list and just submit for review. All right, so that is all about PER, and I am now really eagerly waiting to have all of you as members of ACCA. And any questions you have, I'll be happy to take.
I think there are many questions.
Should we look at chat or Q&A, Shilpi?
We look at both. So some students have dropped in their questions in the Q&A and some have dropped in the chat box. May I please request Himani to please pour in the questions so that Barsha can answer?
Sure, Shilpi. Thank you, Barsha, for such a wonderful session. And there are a lot of questions. Okay, I'll just pick some. Just give me a moment. I think most of the questions are covered by Barsha already. I'm just trying to look at the unique questions. Okay, so Barsha, sorry, Barsha, you were coming in?
Yeah, I saw one question on the articleship, right? So I'll take that still, Himani, because I know, although I've covered it, I think that is the most common question that a lot of students ask and affiliates ask. So I'll just read the question. Please tell me that I don't want to ask my previous CA principal to validate my ACCA PER. I don't want to tell them I'm going to doing ACCA. I have completed my articleship in 2010. I want to use the PER to save time. Can I ask my current employer or any other person to validate my articleship done as PER? Okay, if you are already working at BDO, then you don't need to record any experience from your CA articleship. Rahul, this is a question from you. If you have 3 years of experience at BDO, you can use that experience rather than going back all the way to 2010 to record your experience as a CA. So you are the right person to evaluate. The process is the process. So no matter what experience you want to lodge, we will need the manager from your organization to be able to validate that experience on the PER system. Now, if you cannot go back to your CA, wherever you were doing the CA principal partner, then just ask BDO to help you with that validation if you have worked there for 3 years. And if Himani, BDO is an approved employer?
Yes, Varsha, it is.
Yes, right?
Yes,
Yes, so BDO is already an approved employer. And one thing that I forgot to cover during my session was about approved employers. You only work with an approved employer. For that, the process is very, very simple. Because any one of you who is working with an approved employer, we expect and we have trust in the approved employer that they would have invested in your, given you those opportunities to become an ACCA member through your experience. All you need to do is once you click on the approved employer check button that I had discussed right at the beginning, you will see that there'll appear a form for you to download. Now just download that form and take it to your supervisor. And since approved employers have SPOCs within their organizations for ACCA, just take it to your SPOC, your HR person or your manager if you're not aware of who the SPOC is. They will be just signing it off for you on that form, and all you need to do is send that form back to ACCA. The form itself will have the email address that you need to send that to. So Rahul, the process for you now is very simple. Get that form downloaded, approved employer form from your My Experience dashboard. Take it to your manager. Get that signed off from your manager. If your manager is not aware, then please reach out to ACCA or someone within the firm and ask who is the SPOC for ACCA. They'll be the right persons to do it. And and you are ready to be a member, Rahul, really. So speed it up so that I can see you as a member soon. Go ahead, Himani. Now I'll not interrupt.
Thank you, Varsha. So Kanav is asking, what is IFAC line manager? Does our CA principal qualify as IFAC qualified?
Yes, IFAC is the body where a lot of qualification bodies are members of. ACCA is a member of IFAC, so is ICAI, CFA, CIMA, CPA. Most of the prominent qualifications are part of IFAC. So if your manager is a professionally qualified CA from ICAI, he is an IFAC, he's a part of the IFAC membership body, and he's absolutely the right person to sign off your PER.
Great. Ayush is asking, when is the best time to start PER? I have completed the foundation level. So when should I start to gain 36 months experience?
It really depends. PER is different and qualification is different. So PER is all about your work experience. So if you are, willing to, so if you are lucky to get a job opportunity right at the foundation level, please start recording that experience. You can record any experience, even if that experience has been before your ACCA qualification. Again, provided your manager is ready to sign the experience off for you. So any experience is good. So PER is not really, linked with your qualification in the sense that, if you have not completed certain levels, I can't start recording my PER. If you have any experience, you are ready and fit to start your PER. If you are, let's say, for all those who are kickstarting their careers, as soon as you get that first job of yours, that is the time that you should start recording your PER, no matter what level at ACCA you are in.
Thank you, Barsha. So Kanav is asking, I am working for a Big Four. Are there any exemptions for PER?
Check for Big Four is very wide term. So check for whether or not it is an approved employer. Currently, KPMG India is a current approved employer, and a lot of other GDS firms, KPMG and UI and others are also part of approved employer program. If you're not sure, Himani, would you be able to post the link? There's a link for all the approved employers, or you could just email it to Shilpi and she could help help. I forgot the name.
Sure, Barsha. I think in the jobs portal as well, we have a section of approved employers. So
Right.
I'll just post the link.
You can just go on to Google and just type, ACC approved employers. That link will come. Just check whether or not your organization is part of that approved employer program or not.
Okay. Just looking at the questions. Give me a moment. So Manisha is asking, if I do full-time job, does it count for 3 years of experience, or I have to do it separately?
Sorry.
She's already working, she's saying. I think I've lost Barsha. Is it same for you, Shilpi?
Yes, I think it's a little laggy. So let's just wait for a couple of minutes. I think her network is just breaking in.
Yeah, right.
She's there, but you just keep losing her out. Barsha, are we audible to you?
Okay. Yes. You are audible. You can't hear me?
Now we can hear.
Now we can, yes.
Okay, I'll stop the sharing, I think.
Yes, please. Yeah, I think that will save on the network.
Sorry about this, guys. Yeah, Himani, I couldn't get the first part of your question. If you could come in.
Yeah, sure, Barsha. So Manisha is asking that she is doing a full-time job. I'll just repeat it again. If I do full-time job, does that count for my 3 years of experience, or I have to do it separately?
No, any experience counts, Manisha. If you're doing part-time, full-time internship, CA, articleship, any experience where you have demonstrated, where the role is relevant to finance and accounting, all of that counts. So if you're if you're already working full-time, start recording your PER. At least start recording your employment details.
Thank you, Barsha. So Yash is asking, I'm working as a US payroll executive in a company, and the company follow US accounting standards. So does my experience will be recorded as PER or not? Please assist regarding the same.
Of course, I mean, it is accounting at the end of the day, isn't it? So it absolutely does. You still have to be an ethical professional. You still have to do reporting. You still have to do all the work that is relevant to finance and accounting. So absolutely, that'll count. What you need to check is whether or not the employer is ready to sign it off for you. So that is more important. When on PER, all of the work is more dependent on the employer than ACC, or so it's all about your supervisor, you and your employer. So you have that conversation with your supervisor. I'm sure they'll be doing that for you.
Thank you. So Rishabh is asking about the app that you mentioned, the Insights app. Can you just reiterate the name of the application?
Yeah, I'll just type. It is the ACC Insights app. It is free. It is on iPhone and it is on. So I've typed that for you. ACC Insights. That's the name of the app.
Great. So Shagun is asking, is there any platform or anybody who can help to understand the PER writing patterns?
Sure, members can certainly help you to a certain extent. Listen, when you record a PER, the experience has to be your own, right? So your experience, the examples of your experience. So that is a very, very personal account that you are putting forward. But if you need guidance about, what is the best way to write it, yes, members can help you with that. And, I would say just give it a try once. Once you start, you'll find it very, very easy. There's enough guidance within the PER system itself. But if you really are struggling and if you need help, then we can put you through to a member who can, because they've gone through the same journey, they can really guide you. But again, they can't tell you what to write. That is your own bit.
Thank you, Barsha. So Ankit is asking, who can be the supervisor, a reporting manager, a senior manager, or a partner?
Preferably a reporting manager. If that person is qualified accountant, they can do both your time approval as well as approval on your performance objectives. So preferably it is always your line manager, the person that you directly report to, who really knows what you do day in and day out. They are the right people.
Thank you. Many similar questions around that. Just looking for different queries.
For all those who are asking whether or not which is approved employer or not, guys, please go and check on the link. You will find out whether they are approved employer or not. And even if you don't work with an approved employer, the entire process that I took you through is the standard process, where if you do not work with an approved employer, if you work with the approved, write those summaries. You still have to record the time. You still have to, find the supervisor. You still have to have that conversation for them to get it signed off. But what you don't need to do if you work with an approved employer is just the writing the summary page. Rest is, still there. So.
Thanks. So Varsha, Isha is asking, once time and objectives are approved, the process is completed, right? Or anything else is required?
See, so you have to complete your ethics module. I'm sure Shilpi has already talked to you, and I think we had organized a session also on EPSN some time ago. So you have to complete your ethics module, and along with that, you have these experience and time, performance objectives and time signed off. Once that happens, ACCA, we ourselves will contact you that you're ready to get into membership and invite you into membership. You can also apply on your own through the MyACCA itself, and it will take about 10 working days for you to become a member after you finish all of this processes.
Great. So Diksha is asking, I recorded 2 years of experience from my previous employer, but they did not approve two objectives of mine, and now I am working under another employer. Can my new employer approve those 2 objectives updated earlier?
Yeah, updated earlier, I'm not sure. I mean, you'll have to probably give examples from your current organization where you have done, you have demonstrated those objectives. It should not be very hard for you, because it is, I hope that the kind of roles that you're engaged in are similar. I hope the previous employer has, however, approved your time, because that they have to do. Otherwise, those 2 years do not count. But for the rest of those 2 objectives, certainly the new employer can sign it off, provided that you make some changes to reflect what you have done at the current employer.
Thank you, Varsha. And many students have asked this same question. What if my organization is not approved employer?
No problem. Please don't worry if you're just follow them and then write those summaries. That's it. It's if you work with an approved employer, your summary you do not have to write. Rest is all the same. So please don't worry if you don't work with an approved employer. That is absolutely fine.
Rahul is asking, can a PhD research work be claimed for PER?
Not really. It has to be, it depends what you have done in your PhD research, but it has to be at a workplace environment where you have, PhD research would mean that you're learning more, but PER is about how you Rahul. So it has to be at a workplace.
Thanks, Varsha. Anupam is asking, can we complete PER before qualifying all the papers?
Yes, if you have, for example, done CA and then you come to do ACCA, and then if you have already done your articleship, that work would be before your ACCA qualification. So yes, Anupam, but again, get your manager to sign it off. That is the most important thing. It is between your manager and you. So if they are willing to sign it off and you have really met those objectives, then certainly.
Shilpi, I have a meeting at 6 o'clock.
So, sir, please leave, and we'll take care of the session.
Thank you very much, Varsha. Thank you, Himani, and all the participants who are now students or affiliates. So thank you very much for being a part of the seminar. And it'll be our endeavor to hold more knowledge seminars in future. So my apologies that I have to leave because I have a scheduled meeting at 6 o'clock. So I also love you. So some students send a message that I love you. So in fact, I love all of my students. So thank you very much, and thanks for the faith you have reposed in VGLD and ACCA. Have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Barsha.
Thank you.
I think we can take a few questions. We
Yes, a
have
couple of
around
more
5
I think we
minutes.
can take up. Yeah.
Okay. So Aditya is asking if the supervisor approves the work experience, say 2 years after the job has finished, is it still valid?
Yes, if your manager approves it. It's all about the relation. This whole thing is about between your manager and you. So if your manager approves it within the PER system, it is absolutely valid.
Nikki is asking, what if the supervisor has left the organization after we have also left the organization?
That is why you need to do it when you are organization. That is what I said. If you don't take away anything from this session, just take this away that when you move from one organization to another, get your time signed off. Okay, but in case your supervisor has moved, is there any partner, is there any senior manager, can you explore within the previous organization who can do that for you? That will count. But it is incredibly difficult for you to get it signed off after you moved out from that organization. I can understand and appreciate that difficulty. That is why get it done before you go out of the system.
Thank you, Barsha. A lot of students have asked this question, that if a person is continuing to be employed beyond 3 years with the same employer till date, what would be the end date in the PER system?
So the end date, you just need to cover 3 years. The end date is there for you to show that those 3 years are there. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're leaving the organization, for example. So for the PER's purposes, that is going to be the end date. But of course, you'll continue to work with that organization. So you can, if today is when you are trying to file your PER or send the time for approval, you can put today as end date and 3 years previous as start date.
Great. A student has asked, if my manager is MBA, so is he eligible person to sign off the PER?
Not the objectives. For the objectives, they have to be professionally qualified, but that MBA manager can still sign off your time.
Great. I think we have received this question many a times. So students are asking about the exemptions they get with the approved employer.
Okay, so approved employer, it is just that for approved employers, we have a specific form that is again within the PER system itself. So, you just need to download the form. You still have to record your time. Your manager will still need to approve your time. Okay, but just for your objectives, you just need to take a printout from that, and your manager will sign, against all of the objectives, 9 objectives that you would have completed, and you just have to email it back to us. So the only advantage that you get from working at an approved employer is that you don't have to write those performance objective summaries. Rest is all the same.
So Rahul is asking that video has hired me only for 4 months. What if they don't help me out? Who can I reach out to?
See, if video has only, Rahul, video has only hired you 4 months ago, you still need those 36 months of experience. So if you can get back to your CA, first of all, the partner that you worked with, for them to sign off at least your time, if not the objectives. Okay, so at least get your time accounted for. That is the most important thing. Get your time accounted for, and then at video, you will have to talk to your manager when they will be ready for them to sign your objectives off, because they will have to see some of your performance to be able to sign your performance objectives. So if you can get back to your partner, your senior manager, whoever that you're working with the CA firm, to get them to sign off their the time, that would be helpful. Otherwise, Rahul, unfortunately, you'll have to gain all of those 3 years of experience all over again, and only then you will be able to be ready to apply for ACC membership.
Thank you, Barsha. So Atul is asking, one second. When we select a supervisor, how much time does it take for him to receive the link where he needs to log in and approve?
He will receive the link immediately, and he just needs to do that 2-minute activity of registration, and it gets done very, very quickly. I mean, I've done it in front of me, and it has taken minutes, Atul. So the time is not at all an issue.
Let's just take one last question, because it's just pouring in. So Lata is asking, I am self-employed. One second. I am self-employed, working as an accounts and finance freelancer with multiple clients for last 6 years. So who can be my signing authority?
You can take someone as an external supervisor, but you will still need, even if you're working as a freelancer, you will still need to have someone account for your time, that you're saying that you worked for 6 years as a freelancer. So, can it be someone from your client? Can it be someone who has actually seen your work? Because time has to be accounted for, Lata, and you'll need to get someone to do that for you. I don't know, someone who works for you, works with you, or some clients who you've delivered to. Secondly, on the performance objectives, you can have an external supervisor, someone who worked with your client as a CA or some other, maybe an auditor, or someone who has knowledge that you have delivered that work. They can be your supervisor. And you need more help, Lata, maybe we can have a conversation later. You can reach out to Shilpi, and I can connect you with someone within ACCA UK who can really look at your case and advise what is the best way for you.
Thank you, Barsha, for answering all those questions. Now over
There's a
to
last question. I'll definitely take that. Sorry about this, Manny. Does ACCA,
Sure.
This is from Ankit, does ACCA check performance objectives or approval of supervisor is final? Absolutely, it is checked, and it is rejected multiple times. I have affiliates reaching out to me, why is it rejected? So please be very careful while you're filling your objectives and summaries. We definitely will look at it. What if it is rejected? Let's be positive. Let's expect you all to do a great job after this session in writing a summary so that it doesn't get rejected. If it gets rejected, there'll be point by point answers as to why it is rejected and what can you do to rectify it.
Absolutely. And there's one more question, Barsha, I would just request you to take up. Just last question.
Sure.
Puck is asking, can we simply copy the examples of activities as mentioned on the PER webpage to get approval from supervisor? This is to take care of confidentiality issues.
Not at all. You can't do that, Deepak. It is the best way to get rejected. Okay.
That's precisely why I wanted to take it up. So
yeah, it is the best way to get rejected. What you need to do is give examples. You don't need to talk about your client or even name your organization. I mean, organization names we definitely have, but you do not need to talk about your client. You just need to talk about your experience and what you learned. And trust me, the people who check, they know, they've been doing this for years, and they've been doing this for people who started their careers for years, so they will know. So please don't do that. Do not copy, please. That'll be a waste of this 1 hour that I spent with you guys if you copy.
Absolutely. So that's it, guys. Thank you so much, Barsha, for sparing out so much of your valuable time and, just enlightening our students with so many of their queries. I mean, I think this is the second or third round that we've had on PER. Still, there are so many queries probably that, that are still left unanswered. I would just...
Also, should be just one thing, even if it is the third time, we can do it again. We can have it. I'm sorry we were not able to answer all the questions, but I hope you got a fair brief idea about PER.
Oh, absolutely, Barsha. I mean, you explained it so, legitimately as if what needs to be done step by step, how it needs to be done, how time and your performance objectives are two separate things. I mean, there was so much of, in-depth knowledge that you actually shared with the students. And seriously, thank you so much for that. And thank you so much, Himani, as well, and the entire ACCA team for always sparing out the time for our students to, guide them as to their ACCA journey. And that's precisely our endeavor every time. And we definitely look forward to many more such engaging sessions with our students and with the entire ACCA team. With this, I would just take your leave, everyone, for joining in. Thank you. Stay safe.
Stay safe, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.